Warning, the Bonsai Beat contains explicit language and may not be suitable for all listeners or fans of Neo Genesis Evangelion.
Several anime companies have gone bankrupt. 1,337 anime fans have been sued. All the while, the Bonsai Beat has been there to deliver you the latest in news, show reviews, and discussions from both the experienced and novice anime fans' point of view. And now, broadcasting from a deserted island so Funimation's lawyers can't find them, here are your hosts, Jello-kun and Zach.
So anyway, Perfect Blue, more like perfect movie. I love this movie, actually. Like, I was going for the darker, and I watched the scenes, and you heard the scenes in our intro, and it's just real eerie, and what is the director? Satoshi Kon. Was actually, when I was reading, like, about recommendation for anime movies, because I didn't know many, and we wanted to review one, he was compared to the Alfred Hitchcock of Japan. Or I guess not compared, but he was analogous to that.
Yeah, I was still a relatively new anime fan, maybe 2 or 3 years in, when he passed away. So, I mean, I kept hearing, like, Ancast and Anime World Order and other podcasts, you know, like, oh my god, we've lost a very influential, director and creator of stories, and, Satoshi Kon, will never be duplicated. And I'm really starting to see that as I watch more of his works after his passing. I originally watched Paranoia Agent, and that is a trippy show. And you can go back and listen to the review of Paranoia Agent, by the way. But yeah, I mean, like, the more I see of Satoshi Kon, it's like, oh, yeah. Now I start to see why.
Paprika is another one that I wanted to watch.
Mm-hmm.
So
I also want to see Millennium Actress. Everyone says it's really, really good.
I was going to say, I'd watch anything after watching that. So anyway, let's talk about why it's so great. So, I watched it in English, and it was older animation, so this is newer for me, because, one, I wasn't a fan in 98. I was 5 years old.
Yep.
And 2, I haven't watched a lot of old stuff, like gone back and watched it.
Yeah, I really felt the show did not really hold. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't like, oh man, this holds up really well, It is what it is. I mean, it was hand drawn probably, and
right. Like, the character designs and everything were fine, but like where it showed its flaws is like the idle scenes where there's a lot of movement.
Yeah.
You compare that to something like Love Live, and like they're not even moving compared
that,
to
or
that.
when she's chasing the ghost and they're jumping through scenes.
Oh, right, yeah.
That was really like
jumping through still shots.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it showed its age there, but as far as the character designs and like,
they
look slightly dated, but they look good. Like, all the characters look good. So, let's see. This movie's actually left a lot to interpretation. I'm sure as we discuss it, we'll have 2 different interpretations of what actually happened.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's something I liked, because it doesn't just straight out tell you.
Yeah, usually Satoshi Kon uses his work for, like, tackling social issues. Like, Paranoia Agent was often interpreted as, about anime and otaku and fans and things of that nature, and society as an entertainment, anime as an entertainment, and, societal things on TV and things of that nature.
Okay, well then this one, what would you say this one's about? Over-sexualization of pop idols.
I would probably say the loss of innocence.
Oh, yeah.
But I still somewhat struggle. Because
people have a hard time discerning between reality and fictional TV.
Yeah. It's kind of like pro wrestling, where I'll give you an example right now. There's a character named Daniel Bryan. He's been injured a lot. He came back after almost a year-long injury, and then he got hurt really bad again. And this last week on WWE Raw, he came out and cut what's called a promo, an interview, basically giving up his belt and saying, "I don't know if I'm going to be back." And, pro wrestling is one of those things where are they working me? Is this part of the storyline? Is this legit? And you know what I mean?
Never coming back.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh my, is it real? And it felt very genuine. Well, you could almost say the same thing with musicians, idol, pop stars in this case, but musicians, TV actors. These characters as the fictional character they play on TV, but in reality, they're a real person. They have wants, goals, desires, dreams, etc. But as we kept seeing in the movie, there was, one really, really hardcore guy who, didn't want to believe, the
only interpret her as the idol.
As the idol, exactly. And anything else was, how terrible.
You tend to view a lot of stars, like you said, very one-dimensional. If you only know them when they're acting, then how could you ever think about the rest of their life?
Yeah, because, that's, I think like Jason Statham, for example. He's in every single
badass action guy.
Yeah. But he's probably like a humanitarian or something, or a good guy.
Yeah, chances are he's not always killing people.
He's not walking around with a shotgun. Give me back my son.
He's not the transporter.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's where Satoshi Kon was trying to say, like, there's a thin line in entertainment of the real you and the image that you portray to the mass media. I mean, she was doing nude pictorials and that I'm getting kind of ahead of herself. So go ahead and get into that.
Let me lay the foundation so people can relate to what we're talking about. So the story follows Mima, who's I don't know if she's the lead, but she's one of 3 people in the group called Cham.
Yeah, that was like Sham. I was like, Sham.
Yeah, it's a sham, but I guess it's Cham.
It's CHAM.
But she's this big idol, and she's not like in high school, but you can tell she's really young. Like I would
probably say like 18, 19.
Yeah, I want to say like she's just barely 20 or younger. Yeah. But she's not in high school, so she's into that. And she doesn't really have any parent figures, which I feel like is on purpose. Like,
she did talk to her mother though on the phone.
Yeah,
and even her mother was like, I thought you were doing an idol thing. Why do you want to be an actress?
Yeah, so she likes being an idol, but she doesn't realize it fully, I guess. And her, what is he? Talent agent?
Yeah, I would say the talent agent is like really pushing for her to like
get
out
an
of
actor.
Yeah. I really felt like she was just kind of going along with they know what's best for me. I'll go along with it. It really felt like something she wasn't really wanting to do, but she did.
Yeah, right.
At least at first, because she was timid and just head down while, the talent agency, worked with the studio of the TV show she's going to be a part of.
Right, yeah, she just like sat there rehearsing her one line. Like,
not even that. At first it was like, I'll just sit here in my chair while these guys argue about, idols don't make any money and this and that. And
yeah, it's like she had no input.
Yeah.
So, I guess they're both her talent agent. What is the lady's role?
I would think maybe like a personal manager. Like, I kind of felt like she was like I wouldn't say caretaker, but like someone who kind of your personal assistant.
That makes sense.
You make sure you are where you need to be at this time. If you need anything,
like the talent agent guy. She's like the manager of whatnot of the group / mommy.
Yeah.
So that's the foundation, and then she gets into acting, and all the crazy shit starts happening in the movie. And the coolest part of the movie is how the role she's acting in mirrors the plot line of the movie. So I don't know a good way to describe that, but basically,
no, not the movie. So the show, she joins like a cop detective show.
Oh yeah.
Like a NCIS or a Law and Order type thing, or something along those lines. And she plays like the sister. She starts out with one line, and then as the show continues on, she gets getting more and more lines, and soon the world of her TV appearances start blurring with her reality, and to the point where you're like, what are we watching? Is she on set, or is she in her bedroom? Is she on the street working her day, her day to day? So continue on.
Right, yeah. So it's very confusing.
Yes. I have never yelled "what" so many times on my TV. So she basically, the show starts off with Sham basically saying, hey, this is Minma's last concert. Thank you for everything. Da, da, da. They sing their little song, and she when she's leaving this little is like a little podunk, like little nowhere in Japan. Like, there's no big ass send off. There's nothing special. It's like a little fair. Right. And she gets handed like a card saying www.menmasroom.com or something. And this is in 1997, where the internet was this new spectacular thing.
Small place.
Yes. It was pretty awesome. I was laughing my ass off because they're like, we need a computer, and I don't know anything about internet, and they're like explaining how to use the internet. They're like, this is a browser. You type this to here to go here, and she's like, I don't understand. It's pretty funny when it's looking at 2015 eyes.
It's so revolutionary.
Yes.
She's like, this is the address bar, Mommy, and she's like, I've never heard of that.
Yes. I don't understand. Go slower. So she's, as she's leaving, one of the people go, I always love you on Menma's Room, and she's like, I have no idea what that is, but okay. And then she gets a fax calling her like a traitor, and eventually she finds this menmasroom.com or whatever the site was, and it's basically this crazy fan like stalking her. And like for example, in one of the scenes after the fair and everything, she stops by the supermarket and picks up, fish food. She picks up some milk and this and that. And she goes on the site and they're like, oh, today I had to buy, this kind of fish food for my lovely fish.
I entered the store with my left foot first. That's like when it gets creepy.
Yeah. He's like super detailed and she's like, what?
Which is scary because she doesn't understand how the internet works.
Exactly.
She doesn't know who could be watching her that closely.
Exactly. Eventually, people around her start getting killed, and there's actually a really, I don't know if you call it a famous scene, but the elevator scene, where the boombox is playing, and then like the manager's murdered, with like his eyes like cut out and shit.
Yeah, that was good.
I love the fact that people are like, don't worry about it, Menma, shit happens. You need to focus
it's like
on
everyone close to you is being brutally murdered.
I was like, damn. They're like, don't worry about it. We got security. Just worry about acting, Menma. And it's like, fuck's sake.
I'm pretty sure the person who told her that is the culprit in the end, so it kind of makes sense that they feel okay about it.
So she starts hallucinating, seeing her idol self. And her idol self basically saying, no, you don't want to be an actress.
Like,
this
talks
isn't,
shit to her. Like,
yeah, like, this isn't you. You're a whore, You're gonna get, you're gonna sell yourself out for what,
She does.
And she does.
Technically. Yeah. She does the rape scene, the nude magazine.
Yeah, they did that. So yeah, one of the things later on, like, they have, like, for the show, they have this really lengthy rape scene. And I thought it was, funny's not the right word, but they had to stop in the middle of it, and it almost kind of snaps you back to reality because you're like watching her scream in agony. And she's, a good actor, if you could call it that, and they have to stop, and the guy's like, "I'm so sorry," he's like, he's on top of her, like.
Then he proceeds to like dry hump her more.
Yeah, he's like, she's like, "Oh, it's okay, it's just for a TV show." He's like, "I apologize, this isn't me," and then they go back, "Okay, rape."
It's actually kind of a cool point. It makes the scene very necessary because of that snap to reality, like you said. His specific line that it isn't him is like,
well, it was something along those lines.
The rest of the movie.
Well, I don't think he says it's like not him, but I think he's like, hey, this is really awkward for me. He doesn't say it, but he apologizes to her. He's like, I'm sorry about this.
Right, but it has the same effect of like, this is for the show, and like, I would be a nice guy, and you're obviously not a girl that wants to be raped.
Yeah.
So because it's said to that effect, it kind of sets the tone for how it starts getting crazier, because like, you no longer get that snap to reality.
Yeah, because then after that, I always find it kind of funny was the two remaining Sham Girls actually find success better without Minma. And I almost to the fact where I was kind of thinking like, they made some snide comments, oh, she's doing a pictorial with the guy who always wants them to get naked, and oh, she's gonna be like, kind of talking shit about her.
Yeah, no, they seem like real shitty friends.
But then they're like, to her face, they're all like, oh, Menma, oh, you're so great, oh, I love you. We're best friends, we used to be part of Sham. But yet they find, like, more success. And it almost felt kind of awkward. There was a scene where I think it was after the rape scene and the TV shoot, they go back to the office, and, like, in the background, there's, like, a desk behind some shelving units where the manager sits, and they're talking to the remaining girls of Sham. Oh, you guys are doing great. This is so much better. We're doing so much better without Menma. It felt kind of jarring because, like, here she came from, like, this awful, yeah, it's fake, but, her personal assistant didn't want anything to do with it. She was like, oh, that's not Menma, that she's not a whore. And she's like, no, I'll do it. It's, it's part of acting. You do what you gotta do. I'll take it from me.
Yeah, she's like trying her hardest to be an actor, and they're like talking her for leaving.
But then, like, in the end, they're like, "Oh, we're doing so much better without Menma. Good job, girls. Oh, you're so great." And it's like, man. And this is where it gets kind of crazy. So the murders keep happening, and then, like, they'll be shooting the TV show, but you'll see repeats of, like, she'll be waking up, she'll go home, and then she'll wake up in her bed, and, like, crazy shit happen. Like, they show her murdering someone. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, oh, so-and-so, it was actually the photographer was brutally murdered. And she finds bloody clothes in her closet, and she's like, what the fuck? And she just woke up. And, but then it's like, the next scene is like them shooting, like, oh, illusions can't talk to you, she's going mad. She keeps seeing pictures of her dead sister, and she thinks she's a pop star, and the line is, like, completely blurred. You're like, you can't make sense of the storyline anymore.
Which is great.
Because it was awesome, because they keep showing more, I don't know if you want to call her a ghost Menma, but she's always in she wears, like, a tutu or something for her Idols concerts. So she's always in her idol get-up, and she's like, oh, you don't want to be an actress? You're a dirty, dirty whore. Nobody wants a dirty whore. Come sing with Sham. And she fucking wigs out and, like, literally runs through the street chasing this imaginary ghost, like, literally on the fucking street.
Even, like, rooftop.
Yeah. Like, bad shit insane, like, okay, what the fuck? But then it snaps back to...
Now for the controversial interpretation.
Okay.
So, the big character we didn't mention is one of her biggest fans that gave her the note.
Yeah, the guy with the fucked up eye.
Yeah, he's, like, pivotal in the story. So...
No, what kind of...
Who killed who is, like, what we can talk about.
Yeah, well, they tell you who killed who. Because she says, oh, he didn't do a very good job. Things didn't go to plan.
Right.
So yeah, throughout the show, they show this really just creepy looking guy, fucked up teeth, like lazy eye, like
I was gonna say he could have been like a creepy do-gooder without looking so fucked up.
Yeah, well,
like they gave him everything. They're like,
yeah,
it would be weird if he had long hair, didn't bathe, had a messed up eye, had messed up teeth, like. He was hunchback.
Well, that's what I found interesting, because he was always with that group of folks who was like, oh, Menma, I love her, but, they were, like, normal about it. They're like, oh, we really like her, and...
Yeah, they're like, have you seen the new song? And they're like, no, I haven't bought it yet. And then he's like, Menma's my favorite.
Yeah, it's just weird.
Mouth breathing.
Yes.
He like, heavily mouth breathed in the dub. It was great.
Yes.
They'd show him, he'd be like, it's like a zombie.
Yes. So, go ahead, though.
I just want to hear your interpretation of everything, because I don't think they clearly tell you who kills everyone.
No, they clearly do, at the very, very end.
Okay, so what do you think?
So,
spoilers at this point, if you want to go watch it.
So his name is like Mania, or Mania?
Yeah, Mania was the guy.
Yeah. The way they pronounce it is a little different, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he's like the crazy stalker, like deranged. He's the one... Literally, they show him, like, editing the webpage with nothing but, like,
pictures of
her. And she even... What I found interesting, there's one scene where I think she's going up to the office, and there was a newspaper clipping attached to taped to the door of the elevator. And then you see him, and she sees him, and she, like, freaks out. almost to the point where I thought it was kind of unrealistic because he like kept showing up and like, you know, there was a scene repeatedly where she kept fucking up her scenes because she would see this guy, and you know, after a little while, it kind of got like, come on, nobody notices.
Yeah, he's the creepiest fucking guy ever.
But yeah, he played the super creep, like super hardcore fan.
He's like not even standing behind like the barricade when she sees him too. He's like on set. Well, at that point you could say she's just hallucinating it. But.
Yeah. Well, then it gets even crazier. But yeah, I kind of felt like his character was good, but then like I didn't understand.
But she kills him.
Well, that's allegedly though. That's the thing.
It happened.
Oh, does he die?
Yep.
Okay, because that's where I wasn't sure. So
that's why I don't think it tells you. But my interpretation is yes, and then she changes clothes when her manager finds her, and her manager hides the body and cleans stuff up. Because if you notice, it seems in the movie that it's like back to back that she kills him, finds her manager, and brings her. But she has a whole new set of clothes.
Oh, I didn't catch that, and because I was too busy looking around I think I didn't notice because like the next scene was like them panning around where this. Well,
and nothing was there.
Yeah, like there was no blood. Like they literally like tore. They went back to the scene of the rape, and this crazy guy tried raping Menma and then killing her for real. But then I was like, is it a dream? Because by this point, they were already snapping between.
And she's already like hallucinating him.
Yeah. So
no,
I was
I think
did this happen?
Killed him.
Okay, that's where I wasn't sure because
her manager even references like, now that we got you clean clothes, like let's go see what's going on, and like as they're painting scenes, and then Menma's like, oh, I guess nothing happened there, and like, but she's clearly wearing it. Like, I think it was enough time to clean it up.
Okay. Yeah.
Not to mention he's like never referenced again.
Yeah, that's true. Well, no, he is referenced again. So her name is Moreno, or Marie, Murano. Yeah, Morano. Morano, yeah, there you go. Morano is the personal assistant. So, yeah, and that's where I was kind of confused because I guess I didn't pick up on the fact that she had to change clothes. I thought it was the same thing.
No, it isn't. It's Roomie.
Roomie, that's it. Who's Morano?
Some other guy. He's like the actor, maybe.
No, yeah, you're right.
No, it's the photographers.
That's right. You're right. So many characters.
Yeah, Roomie was the...
Yeah, Roomie, you're correct. So, that's where I was kind of like, I thought maybe it was like a hallucination. Mm-hmm. Or like she thought this happened, but then like everything was set up normal. Like literally within seconds, it was like nothing was knocked over, there was no blood, there was no body. You know, she just looked disheveled. You know, had ripped clothes, but even then, it seemed like it wasn't like a lot. Like she just kind of untucked everything and messed it up. It wasn't like, oh, your blouse is ripped and... You know what I mean? Because she was just
pretty ripped up, I think.
Okay. Well, fair enough. So I guess that's where I kind of got where I was kind of like going like, was it real?
Not to mention, if there's ever going to be something you don't hallucinate, like the physical contact would probably be something.
Yeah, but she wasn't cut up or anything. I mean, didn't she get stabbed or something?
No.
No, okay. At least she got stabbed in the arm.
All
right.
But then, so Roomie put that guy up to it.
Yes, you're correct. So essentially what ends up happening is that guy is killed, but then more and more and more she keeps hallucinating, and it keeps jumping between the show and her bedroom and her life with Roomie. Well, I wouldn't say her life with Roomie, but Roomie becomes like visiting, and it's like, hey Roomie, I just woke up. I would love some tea. And she's like, what do you mean?
Well, that was like the pivotal part of the movie.
Yeah.
That was so good when because you see everything through Mima's eyes, and then she notices, like she did earlier, her fish tank.
Yeah, that was really creepy.
It's a replica of her room that Roomie has, because...
that's what that was. Okay.
The spoilers that she's trying to become.
Yeah.
Or she resents what Mima becomes, so she wants the old Mima. So anyway.
Okay, I didn't realize it was a replica. Like...
Yeah, that's why she figured something was wrong.
See, I thought the fish were killed, but then like the next scene they're alive again. It's like, what the fuck?
Oh yeah, so that's how she figured out it wasn't her room, because she knew her fish were dead.
Okay.
And her manager couldn't have known that because they died in the morning.
Yes. Okay, so you put a little more thought into this. See, me, I was kind of like, at this point, I was kind of like, what's real and what's not? Because literally, they jump to a cut where it's like, hey, the show is wrapped up, and they're like, figments of her imagination isn't real. Da, 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 da. Like, it's like to a T of what she's experiencing.
Right. Like, yeah, the other actress is, like, diagnosing her.
And I'm like, wait, has she been in a psychiatric ward this entire time? Like, I was waiting for her to wake up and be like, it's all a dream.
Yeah, but she visits one at that.
Yeah. We'll get to it. So, yeah, at this point, I guess I was trying to figure out what was reality in the show and what was
This is my most exciting part. I'm like, time to be a detective.
Yes.
But I think, to me, that's the cue of why she, like, tried to run away. Because, like, she realized something was wrong and it wasn't her house. Because she called Roomie's name when she noticed the fish, and she's like, what, Mima? And comes out, and she's sees...
Like, dressed like her.
Well,
she's a fat her.
Yeah, she doesn't see that initially, though. She sees just the ghost Mima.
Yep.
So, it was good.
Yeah, and there's a huge fight, and, it's crazy. She
falls on broken glass.
Yes. Gets stabbed with a...
Doesn't die somehow.
Yeah.
I fully expected her to be dead until that.
Hey, when you know, if I ever get to Japan, I am gonna like fall from like a 4th-story building
onto
like,
glass.
Exactly. Like, come on. I figure this stuff's a lot
almost
softer.
Get hit by traffic, and like the time it would take for someone to scrape you off the road to bring you to the hospital, you'd probably bleed out.
Yep.
But anyway, anime, no one can die.
Well, that's what I understand too. Like, no one outside of like her circle, like Shinya gets hit by a car, and like it was actually a garbage truck, and the garbage men come out and they're like, "Whoa, this isn't good." You know, they're both bloody and like stabbed up and
like inspired dub line. It was great.
Yeah, but I found it kind of funny. I'm like,
no good.
I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, doesn't anybody know who this person is outside of like her fans?
Yeah, she was a big like. One of the biggest, you can assume, pop idols.
Yeah.
And then, like, a fairly successful actor. So you would think, like, someone... Even the end scene where she visits Roomie by herself, you would think, like, more people would recognize her. I guess
they did. The hospital staff did.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it turns out that Roomie, you know, is... This is what I don't understand, is, like... You know, like, there's the scenes where, like, she's chasing the ghost men, like, what was real and what wasn't? Like... That's kind of hard to say because, you know, obviously it's an anime, they can bend, you know, everything. Right. But, like, you know, there's no way fucking hell that she was like a fat, like, 40-year-old woman, you know.
That last scene was great, how they'd show, like, her jumping, right?
Yeah, she's like almost floating.
She's panting.
Yes.
Because they switch between, she's, like, dying trying to chase Memo because she's so fat, but then, like, they show her, like, skipping through air.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't think when she initially chases her on the rooftop, Roomie has anything to do with it. I think that's like a pure projection of her mind.
Okay. See, and that's where I kind of felt like, in the end, you come off like, Met was doing her own thing, and she's now independent and strong, because she's like, I'm doing it my way. You know, and they show, and they show Roomie in the psychiatric ward, and she's like, some days she's a pop star idol Menma, and other days she's Roomie, the caretaker, you know, the personal assistant to you know, her. And she brings her like roses, and she's like, "Oh, thank you so much. Are you a fan?" You know, it was really creepy.
It was awesome. It was the perfect end.
Yeah, it was. I mean, this show was an hour and 20 minutes, and they like built everything up perfect.
Yep.
Everyone, there was no loose ends. I felt
it left them to like interpretation, but still didn't leave out vital things. Like,
yeah,
they included everything you could have wanted.
Yep. I give the show a 9 out of 10. I really, really, really enjoyed it, and would definitely watch it again, because I guarantee you there's probably stuff that you don't notice the first time that you'll check the second time.
Yeah, even some things that weren't subtitled, like parts of the website or the facts and stuff. Like, if I could get a fully subtitled version, I feel like I'd get more out of it, too.
Yeah. I found that a little frustrating.
Yeah, so I gave it an 8. It's really good. I feel like the complaint I have... I don't know. I can't think of many complaints, but it just didn't feel like a 9 or 10 material.
Gotcha.
I didn't look back and be like, whoa, that was a roller coaster. It was like a roller coaster watching it, but looking back, I wouldn't be like, this is the definitive piece of whatever it was. Like, it got me more interested in psychological thrillers, but I feel like I've seen better.
Gotcha. Yeah. I can't think of any complaints per se.
The dub was uninspired at times, but
yeah. Well, I mean, it's
whatever. It was the 90s.
So I just wish they would have maybe done a little more on like whatever happened to Sham and what happened after all the events that occurred. Because obviously, like, this big star, this big actress was in this big, huge thing. Like, your personal assistant turning on you and trying to murder you. And
close proximity to like 3 murders in a month.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, nothing. That was the only thing I could say was, like, I wish they would have had more about what occurred after the resolution came about. But, I mean, an hour and a half, what are you going to do?
Right, yeah. It was a great way to end it, like, yeah. Huh. I don't know, it was really cool. I've never seen an anime tackle, like, that type of subject.
Yeah, it was really good.
Like, Loss of Innocence, you get some elements of, but that was, like,
well, I think
mental illness, too.
I think the Loss of Innocence is really used a lot, though, for plots. Usually, when growing up, a lot of time, I think like a lot of the mecha, I want to say mecha shows. I don't know. I can't think of any show off the top of my head like says like Loss of Innocence, but
Code Geass, I guess.
Yeah, well, I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking the same thing about Code Geass.
It's not necessarily because it's mecha.
No,
yeah, swears revenge.
Yeah, I could see like the classmates losing their innocence because of all the issues Lelouch brings and all the wars and the turmoil that's brought to the school.
Yeah.
Where, these kids are just like, I want to live my life and go to school. And
I've never seen it done like that, though.
Yeah. No, I think this was definitely like a social commentary on the entertainment industry because, a lot of people do say, it's sleaze, and there's a lot of pornography and a lot of
a great time to do it, too. Think about the time it was made, almost the advent of 2000. A lot of pop stars were over-sexualized at that point. So.
Oh, and they probably still...
Oh, yeah, it's only progressed further, I think. But with the advent of internet, and even they made a point to throw the internet in there as the stalking source, I think it's pretty clever.
This has been the Bonsai Beat Podcast. If you have any feedback, head over to bonsaibeat.com and leave a comment on the show notes for this episode. While you're there, you can also find our review index, which has a list of all the anime that we've reviewed on the Bonsai Beat podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to add us to your favorite podcatcher. You can find links to do that on our website. Otherwise, we're also on iTunes and Stitcher Radio if that's easier for you. Once again, this is the Bonsai Beat podcast. Thank you for listening. And if you have any other questions or comments, you can send them to bonsaibeat@gmail.com.